Hi everyone, today we're doing savory cabbage pie. This pie is from my childhood and I'm excited to share it with you. For the dough, we'll need 3.5 cups of flour, 50 grams of melted butter, 1 cup of warm milk, 3 eggs, 1 teaspoon of dry yeast, half a teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of sugar. And since we're doing cabbage filling, we'll need 450 grams of cabbage, 1 carrot, half of an onion, some frying oil, pepper, and salt. At first, we'll create a little boost for the yeast. Get 1 cup of warm milk, about 85 degrees in Fahrenheit. Add 1 teaspoon of dry yeast to the milk. Add 1 tablespoon of sugar and 1 tablespoon of flour. Mix until the yeast dissolves with the milk and let it stand in room temperature for 20 minutes. This batter will increase in size, so make sure you have some room for it. And this is what I got in 20 minutes. You can see all the foam. It did increase in size. That means the yeast is active and we can start baking. Get a big bowl and add the yeast batter to it. Add 50 grams of melted butter, half of a teaspoon of salt. Add 2 eggs and 1 egg white. Keep the egg white because we'll be using it later. Give it a good mix until everything is incorporated. Start adding flour a few spoons at a time and mixing in between. Cover the dough with a towel and let it double in size. It should take about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. And while we wait for the dough to rise, we'll prepare the filling. Dice half of an onion into small cubes. Slice 450 grams of cabbage into thin sticks about 1 inch in length. Shred the carrot on a bigger hole. We'll be frying our vegetables, so we'll need about 2 or 3 spoons of oil. I'm using olive oil here. And when the oil heats up, add the onion. When the onion turns golden in color, add the carrot. Fry it on a medium-high heat for a few minutes and add the lettuce. Turn the heat to low and make sure the lettuce is mixed in with the other vegetables. Close the lid and let it simmer for about 3 minutes on low heat. Open the lid and give it a good mix. Add 1 teaspoon of salt. This is optional. I'm adding half of a teaspoon of garlic powder. Add some black pepper. Give it a good mix. Close the lid, turn off the heat, and let it sit with the closed lid for about 10-15 minutes. My dough is now ready. You can see it doubled in size. And I'm using some flour to help me work with the dough. Mix the dough for a few minutes and then split it in 2 equal halves. Set one dough aside and the other piece roll out a few inches more than the size of the pie tray. I'm using some flour to help me work with the dough. And this is my pie tray. You can see the dough is rolled out a few inches more, so this is perfect. I'm brushing some melted butter on the tray to prevent the dough sticking. And now use a rolling pin and transfer the dough to the tray. I'm using scissors to cut any extra dough on the edges. Fill the pie with the cabbage filling we made earlier. And now I'm cutting about 1/3 of the second piece of the dough and setting it aside. I'm gonna use it for decorations. And do the same with this piece of the dough. You want to roll it out a few inches more than the diameter of the pie tray, and it's gonna cover the pie. I'm using 2 fingers and a thumb to make pretty edges of the pie. And here I have the egg white we had left from the dough, and I'm adding another egg and mixing it, and then we'll be brushing that on the pie. Brush the egg all over the pie. And now you can leave the pie just like this and bake it, but I'll be using these forms to make more design on the pie. Brush the egg on decorative pieces also. And make few holes on top of the pie to release the steam. Preheat the oven to 375 and bake for about 35-40 minutes. You do want to make sure you bake for that amount of time because you want the pie to cook inside. If you find the top of the pie getting too dark, you could always cover it with a foil paper, but make sure you cook that amount of time. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this recipe, and I'll see you soon in my next video.